Hello Rumble World, Mike Daddy 191181 here with the Shade Tree Survivalists. This video I'm going to give you a lot of helpful information on the M1A M14 type rifle. Okay, M1A is simply a trademark name, a business name for the M14 civilian version of the M14. It is manufactured in such a way the receiver is too wide for the connecting rod that would allow fully automatic fire. Okay, so it's not classified as a machine gun. But other than that, it's an M14. M14 fully automatic when it only weighed 9.5 to 10 pounds with a .308 cartridge is a wee bit light. You have to consider most belt-fed machine guns firing that cartridge weighed 20 to 25 pounds, so double the weight. And still, it's a handful with a .308 fully automatic. So, for all intents and purposes, an M1A is simply a civilian or a semi-automatic only M14. It's like they just took the selector switch and the connecting little rod off, period. That's it. It's the only difference. Other than the fact that the components that are manufactured by Springfield Armor are cast or MIM parts versus drop forged like on the real deal M14. Drop forging is stronger, but it's also expensive. This video is going to be dedicated to giving you the information you need to clear a M1A that is choked out by mud. If you've seen the in-range TV video in which they took an entire shovel load of mud and poured it right in top of the receiver, which is an open design on the M14, it's easy to do that. However, if you know how to remedy the situation, before you fire it again, you can prevent this problem from happening. That is what this video is going to be about. It's going to give you the knowledge to be able to do it, and then we're going to do a test on it. Now, we will not be on Betsy. I've had it for 20 years, and that cast receiver, I'm just afeared I'll break it. So I am going to, sometime this year, good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, I will be either buying a Beulah Defense or an LRB Arms drop forged receiver. Both of those companies manufacture them. And both of them provide spare parts for the real deal military M14s. They have contracts for the receivers, and they have contracts for the bolts and op rod guide, and I mean, you name it, the whole rifle. So one of those two this year, they'll be in the neighborhood of $2,100 to $2,500. That's my goal. But hey, I work for a damn living, you know, and I got other priorities I got to take care of before I can do that. This video will give you the knowledge to do it. You need to really, 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 really think about how to do this and even practice it. Because otherwise, you dump a load of damn mud or drag that sucker through the damn mud and you do not clear it before you try to fire it, you just choked out the whole damn works. And now you've got to disassemble the rifle or dig Q-tips out to get the mud out of the little places, specifically around the locking lugs of the receiver. Especially the right one, because the right one is it's basically a cul-de-sac, and there's no way for the damn mud to get out of there if the bolt's trying to come in and lock. There's just nowhere for it to go. And until that bolt goes all the way to the bottom and locks, the firing pin is out of position, it's on the bridge. I will demonstrate that. The hammer cannot strike it and move it forward because the bridge is in the way. And I will show you how that looks. Now, later I'll do a better video where the rifle is out, and I'll focus in on that the area at a much better angle, but right now it's in the chassis, and it's a work day, and I don't have the time. So without further ado, I'm going to roll in all the video that I have just shot with much better lighting, better camera angles, where I'll zoom in as much as possible. Limitations of the GoPro, we'll see what happens. But thank you. Hit that rumble button, hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for this information, because you're not going to find it in a book, and you're not going to find it in a DVD, because I've been looking. No one knows this because they haven't studied it. I have. I am a thinking man. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. You're not going want to just pull the damn wool over my eyes and tell me it's a piece of crap when I'm opening it. It's friggin' awesome. If you own one, hold your head up, stay tuned, learn something. Okay, if you're thinking man or woman, you need to ask some questions of everything. I mean, always be curious, always be nosy, find out. Okay, that's the reason you don't see me going in with a lot of these conspiracy theories, because you can't answer the questions. And if you can't answer the questions, then you got to be suspect. Okay, no matter who it is, you got to be suspect. M14, here's the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Okay, we're going to go over it in the video, but I want to go over it here. This is my thinking, my methodology. Who got the rifle choked up with mud? Your dumb ass, for allowing it to happen, or by circumstance. So the who could be not a thing, just a circumstance. What is gobbed up is going to stop the rifle from running? If there's none in the bore, which would blow the damn gun up. So you need to damn sure make sure the bore, if there's any inside the flash suppressor, that's it. You're done until you get a rod down the barrel, period. But if not, then it's the receiver that's gobbed up with mud. Where? In the receiver, the trigger group, the locking lugs of the bolt and the receiver, and the op rod camming surface. We'll give you some close-ups on that. When? After you seek cover. You don't do anything else until you have sought cover. You get down behind in defilade, a low depression where direct fire cannot get you, behind a tree, a building, a vehicle, and your fellows are watching over you so you're not getting your ass shot off. So seek cover. Why? The bolt, the right lug will foul and not close if crud gets into the lug of the receiver under the right lug of the bolt. Okay? There's a corresponding lug in the receiver and a lug on the bolt, and they have to work in concert. Goes to the rear, bolt's unlocked, clears the receiver, continues to the rear, and that big damn gap opens up right there. This is the Achilles heel right here. Once that bolt unlocks and moves out of the way, any crud that gets in there is trapped there by the op rod. That's why you do not open the damn bolt until you've wiped the majority of that crap off with your hand. And if you don't, it's just going to fall right down in there and it's going to lock every damn thing up, and you're in deep crap from that point on. Because that that locking lug has got all that material there, but it's just trapped, and your finger's not going to be able to get down in that recess. It's just the angles and all, and the tight confinement will prevent that. That's why you got to wipe the crud off of it before you do anything else. And why does that happen? Because there's an op rod right there, and it will not allow you to just sweep it out with your fingers or whatever. So how do you prevent this? First, do not open the damn bolt. Second, wipe the crud out from the right side to the left side. But as I was doing this earlier in the video, actually from the left to front, to the back, and to the right. So you're going to make a sweeping motion like this to get the majority of the crud out. Okay, on the other side, the way it is, you got the lock and lug here, but you got a lot more room for crud to get around and through there and it not stop the system. Let's release the bolt. Okay, open it now back up. See, it drops down and out of the way and moves to the rear, but when it comes back, it pushes crud up and out of the damn way. So that one there is not the likely culprit. It's going to be this side here. That is your Achilles heel right there, and that's what can choke the darn rifle out. That's why you keep the bolt closed until you clear the majority of the freaking crud off of it. And you've got a ridge over here, so I would assume the best thing to do is to be wiping it this way and then out the side, especially if you have an optic on there like I do. So you'd start left front, work it down here and out of the way, wiping it off like this. to get it clear. And it's obvious old Betsy has got some dust on her. I need to clean her up. Maybe I'll do a disassembly video for Rumble. Remove. Once you wipe the crud off the top of the receiver and the bolt, you're going to remove the mag and then pull the trigger group. I will demonstrate that a little bit. Okay, so you wipe the crud off the top of the bolt. Next thing you need to do is, of course, remove your magazine, get it out of the way, then your trigger guard, and here's what you're going to do. You pull to the rear and out toward the camera, toward you at the same time. And of course, I've got it just bounced up here, so it's going to be a pain. The hammer needs to already be cocked. And of course, if you're in a firing condition, you got a round in the chamber, the bolt's closed, hammer cocked, and your safety on. So that, just remove it out of the way. Sling mud out of the trigger group. Once you've got it in your hand, it's a contained unit, and you can sling it out like this, you know, just like that. Clear the rear of the receiver and the back of the bolt while the magazine is out and the trigger group is out. You've got a big hollow hole right there. You can put your hand and fingers up in there and you can dig it out. This is where, having played with Mary Jane Rottencrotch and her sisters, comes in handy. Your fingers will be very, well, you know. And here's what we're wanting to look at right here. All right. Let me illustrate something right quick. You see these hooks right here? That's what locks the trigger into the stock and to the bottom of the receiver. Okay, this and that hollow spot right there go hand in hand, okay? But what we're looking at here is the bridge. That's called the bridge. It supports the rear of the bolt when the bolt's in battery, and it also is a safety mechanism. So at the base of the bridge, you see the shiny right there. That's the firing pin tail. The bridge prevents it from going forward until the bolt has turned to a certain degree. Watch as I move the hot rod to the rear. See how it moves? It moves toward the right. When you close it, it hits the bridge and it turns and turns. And that last little bit is when it is allowed to go free. But even that little bit, as it's slamming forward, could be enough with civilian detonators or civilian primers to set it off and cause a slam fire. You gotta be very careful when you reload for these rifles. Your primers have to be absolutely flush with the base. And if you can get a hold of the CCI 762 military hard primers, you're a whole lot better off. But this is your bridge. And this is where your trigger mechanism locks into the rifle. Without the trigger mechanism, you can put a magazine in there all day long, and of course nothing's going to happen because with the trigger you've got the hammer and so forth. But that's how the magazine fits in there. All right. While I am at it, I'll turn the camera a little bit, and we'll focus in on the tail of the, or I guess you'd call it the nose of the op rod spring guide. That is what catches this little point here. Catches the front of your magazine on the hole there. So when you're doing your cleaning and so forth, you take it out of the stock and you take the op rod guide out and the spring and all. Make sure that you inspect that so it's, and you don't want it to be deformed and bent all to hell. And hopefully the distortion of the light doesn't mess with it too bad. Here's your op rod spring guide. It goes into the front of the magazine, the little hole up there, just like that. And your trigger mechanism and all is in there like that. So that's what it looks like inside the rifle, okay? And that's how they operate together. This thing here has a little cam surface area so it can move. It's under spring pressure, of course, for the hot rod spring. The magazine has the cutout hole here. And then it has the big lug here that's welded to the back, and that interacts right there with the trigger mechanism, just like that. Okay, see how that works? All right, now let's brag on some of the stuff. This is a satellite extended magazine catch. This is the GI spec part. if I can get it up level. Can you see the difference? I mean, the satellite is huge. There's a lot more leverage, and it's easy to work with gloves. Okay, big hands and fingers. This little old thing here is barely sticking out. It's pitiful. Pitiful. I highly recommend you replace the original part with the satellite part. Absolutely awesome. Anyway, okay, so the next thing is you clean the top off. You've looked in here. You checked that out. You clean that off. You slung the shit out of the damn the trigger mechanism, the trigger assembly. You need to find a little rig right here on this portion of the housing, and there's a little notch or whatever you want to call it corresponding to that ridge. Okay, just find it, and let me see, stick it back in, and what I really need to do is make a mark right here on the receiver with a black pen or something, or a Sharpie, so it's easier for me to line that damn thing up. Good piece of advice for you guys too. Close, slap shut, and lock your trigger mechanism, your trigger guard, because that's what locks the receiver or the trigger group into the receiver into the stock. Fresh, clean magazine, insert it, slam it home, good to go. Now, before you go crazy and do this, you're going to reintroduce mud right into that area we're worrying about, which is the lock and lug area. Turn the rifle over, about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little longer. Once you've got it upside down, put it 4 or 5 rounds downrange. Why do you turn it upside down? The remaining crud, if you leave it straight up and down like this, it's going to go up and come straight back down into the damn receiver. Reintroducing the crud where you don't want the crud at. Another reason is because this hollow area inside the hot rod that opens and closes the bolt that interacts with the roller on the bolt, if it's packed with mud, rolling it over like that will allow it to blow it out, because you got the shock of firing a weapon. Cycling forward and backwards, vibration, the shock, the noise, the shock wave off the weapon action firing up here at the front, traveling down that way, and gravity allowing it to fall off, to get away from the weapon. That's why you want to turn it upside down. 4 or 5 rounds, rotate the rifle back up, and it should be perfectly fine. By the way, how do you like my hat? Anyway, we're not going to get political yet. Learn your system. It don't matter if it's AK, an AR, a Uzi, a freaking Heckler & Koch MP5. I don't give a damn. It can be a damn BB gun. If you don't know how it operates, you're not going to know how to remedy the situation if you get it choked out with mud. Number one, don't drag the damn thing through the damn mud. You put it in your hands. Work your elbows. Keep it out of the damn mud. Preserve the weapon at all costs. Okay, so we were in the creek a couple of years ago, stepped over a log, there was no bottom. And up to here, I got wet, but Betsy did not get wet. Betsy was high and dry. Now, it was funny to scout, but my instinct was not to throw out my hands and protect myself. Not worry about going over my head in the water. My instinct was to get the rifle as high up out of the crud and the mud and the slime, the leaves and all these, because it was like a little pool on the other side of this log. It was just slowly circling around. It was just gobbed up, but it was a quick, short distance, right straight to the shore. And I almost did a face plant, but all my magazines got soaked. My pistol got, my range officer, I had it in a cheap thigh rig at the time. I mean, it was underwater. But I came through it fine, got to a clear water. I just took my 1911, rinsed it out, stuck it back in the holster, let it dry out, got back the next day or later that day, sometime or another we were shooting it. But know what your system's capable of doing. Know where its limitations are. That's the Achilles heel right there in that damn hot rod. The way it's designed, because it blocks the exit of crud when the damn bolt is back like that. Or forward. It just blocks it. You cannot get it out of there. So, well, there went my damn light, so I guess it's dead. I'll have to recharge it, no big deal. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, end of this M14 series, video of this series. We're going to probably get the Iron Maiden, go from end to end through the Iron Maiden, possibly this rifle, because I see it really needs some cleaning. So that may be what we do, but for the visual, we'll use the Iron Maiden because it looks more familiar to most people who own the M1A M14 system. But regardless, don't look at the chassis. Receiver, the barrel, the gas system, all are exactly the same, except for the little tweaks I've done to it, like the bigger mag catch, the extended bolt release. And see there? I don't have to touch the freaking hot rod, just touch that and boom, it'll be right home. But I think we're going to do some more videos on that, and thank you very much for watching. Please hit the rumble button, rumble this thing up. If you're an AR guy, maybe you learned something new, because we all need to know each other's systems. I know an AR, I know an AK, an SKS, M14. And hopefully as time goes by, I'll have my hands on different weapons and be able to learn how they function and operate also. So thank you very much. Rumble, 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 baby. Give me a rumble. Share it with any of your friends who have M1.